Hello, everybody. Anna, I am back today again with wonderful, beautiful Jenny Elinora. And Jenny I came across her and I really love what she does. I'm not going to tell you too much about it because she is going to do that. But I can tell you the reason I'm bringing her on my channel is because what she has to say, I think, is really vitally important for women going through the menopause. It's a heads up on what is going on and how you can make yourself feel better. So, what I have on Jenny Elinora helps women and femme to unleash their power and transform their lives through bold self expression. Your creativity is not a luxury, it's a lifeline to your true self and purpose. So, welcome, Jenny. So happy to have you here. Tell me, what is this topic really? What do you do and how do you define it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a biggie because, like you said, I definitely believe that creativity is a basic human need, and the hugeness of it for me and for women lies in the fact that we've been generally stifled in our creativity throughout our lives, and that is why my mission is to help women become empowered, especially women who are getting into the middle years and into menopausal years. I myself am perimenopausal, and yay! and
Welcome to the club, girl.
I know, woo! So yeah, the cultural elements of our voices getting silenced as women, and then as we age as well, our voices getting stifled and devalued, and just plain ignored sometimes. So
Hmm.
I have my own sort of painful experiences with that, as many do, and having fulfilled my own creative dreams completely. I obviously they led into other dreams, but my big creative dream, having fulfilled that a couple of years ago when I was 50, doing my first solo music project for the first time, that just kind of put the spark under me to help other women live their own creative dreams, find at long last, right after a lifetime of putting aside our needs and our creative needs, basic human needs, for the sake of supporting others, maybe supporting others' creative needs. Maybe our creativity got like channeled into helping others as well, which is a beautiful thing, and we don't ever want to stop supporting others, but we also need to be taking care of our own passions and our own motivations in order to live wholly and express ourselves with what I call our whole voice, which is whatever way we want to express ourselves in the world, whether that's art or caregiving is even a form of expression, or activism, or community service, or career, and like owning a business, that kind of thing. These are all creative pursuits. In fact, our whole life is. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Really clear.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop in a little more on that. But one thing I would like to ask is why why is this so difficult for women to step into the arena of actually um, moving into their own creativity and trusting it and owning it? Why is this so difficult? Because you must have seen this so many times, the hesitancy to step into it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, without going too deep into like the psychological stuff, I would say that generally there's a disconnection that we are kind of acculturated to have, that we are encouraged in some ways to think and keep planning and thinking and sort of being very head centered, and to ignore or even completely disconnect from our heart and our self, I guess our sense of self and who we are, in order to serve the needs of others. I think that's the big mechanism of it that gets in the way. And that shows up in our lives as things like, as thought processes and thought patterns like, well, I don't have enough time for creativity, or with so much other problems in the world, isn't it selfish for me to go ahead and and live my own creative dreams? Or another big one is nobody and sometimes that's been our experience is I've tried to be creative or to share my creative voice in some way or another, and it landed on deaf ears, or it didn't it wasn't valued enough. So therefore my what I have to say in the world, it doesn't have much value. These are the things that we end up thinking. And it takes some time to get through to sift through all that, all those thoughts and all those patterns, and sort of rewire ourselves in a different way, just like it does when we're relearning anything that involves some degree of, I guess, trauma. I would call this creative trauma. Uh, and yeah, but it can be done just like other kinds of healing. Creative healing can happen with support and community and and getting in touch with our passions.
Do you find sometimes, as we're talking, I was thinking another bit that comes that I think a lot of women think that I have to be so good at what I do, that creativity somehow indicates that you're
Mhm.
creating something for the world around you to look at and also, in a way, have the right to judge. And I think that can be a massive stopper instead of saying, this is just for me. I love singing. I'm shit at singing, but it makes me happy, so I
Mhm.
shall sing. I will never sing on a stage. You see where I'm going with this?
Yes,
That
I
the
do.
creativity is a really intensely personal momentum, if
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
right word.
yeah, it is.
What
It is.
about that?
Yeah,
Come
well, at
across
first,
that?
first I want to say it hurts my heart to hear anybody say they're shit at singing because uh, because we all have this birthright of our voice, and there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad with it. Like that's an external placement upon you from outside of you to begin with. Whoever says I'm shit at singing, right?
Yeah.
That's external. That's not part of you, and it's just a lie. So, and that's true about any creative endeavor. Like we every endeavor in life, we do things that move it forward, and we make mistakes that kind of like stop us for a bit, and then we find ways around them because we are creative beings. And so the myth of like good or bad, the myth of talent is one that I really really have some big beef with. And like it serves to it's another thing that serves to separate us from ourselves and from each other. So the more that frankly the more that we can be choosing within ourselves to follow our own passions and to believe in our own authentic voice, whatever ways we want to express it, um, the more whole we'll be as people, and then the more whole we'll be as a society as well, or as societies. I don't know. We're becoming global, I guess. Uh, and yeah, that's a big one. I could talk a really, really long time about that. I guess the summary or the long and short of it is that we just can't let that keep happening anymore. We each have the power and the responsibility, frankly, to take our creative power into our own hands and to express it and learn about it and learn about what we like to do. I didn't sing in public until I was 33 years old because I was allowing those creative monsters, as Julia Cameron of The Artist's Way calls them. I was allowing those voices that I had assimilated into my head to tell me, oh, your voice isn't good enough, or nobody's going to listen to it. I got support from outside of me at that time when I was 33, and I decided, well, I'm doing it anyway. And then, like I said, I put out my first solo project. What's that? 17 years later, when I was 50, and it's the fulfillment of it. Some people enjoy my stuff, some people don't, and that's all right because it was
It's
my
a normal, right? It's like
right.
that
That is
with everything.
with
Everybody doesn't like David Bowie just because he's fantastic. I mean, just saying. But I would like to hear is when we're talking, I'm when I'm trying to look at what is the stopper a lot, and I think we've grown up, we live in a very judgmental world, and it's becoming more so with the Insta and Facebook and all of these socials where you put something up or you whatever somebody put something up and it's I know a friend of mine who's a yoga teacher and a mature woman, right? She's 70. And
Hmm.
somebody, they don't see that she's this amazing woman doing yoga. They tell her that she has a crappy neck.
Hmm.
That was the takeaway from whatever she does, which, and I think this stops a lot of women from fear of this judgment because we take judgment very, very harshly. I think harsher than the average man, right? So this is one thing that is a huge stopper, I would think. And are there any other mistakes or top stoppers that you can think of that you find with the women you're working with that they are encountering or dealing with?
Yeah. Well, I think what you named about feeling it, right? About how much it hurts to be criticized for something that we're putting our whole souls into, does speak to a level of vulnerability, at trying to stay open and empathetic with ourselves and with the world, and at the same time, right, not let in those creative monsters, and so. Yeah, I do. So yeah, when I'm saying like we have the right and the responsibility to kind of take our creative power back. I'm not just saying it like as if it's easy. It's true. It's true as you're saying. There's not a lot of obstacle. I mean, there are plenty of obstacles. Um, I guess I think of that all as like, how do we build the muscles to
Yeah,
deal with that? How
yeah,
do we build the strength and the resilience in order to keep doing it anyway? Because then what comes out of that is even more powerful and valuable. So yeah, to go back to your question, which I think was, are there other obstacles, right? Or are there other things that, but I did want to name just vulnerability in a
mhm,
very, in the way that we feel it and in the way that it does kind of actually exist in the world. It
yeah,
is something
yeah,
that I feel empathetic to, which is why we need community about around this. And I am finding it myself in a place I didn't expect over the last year since I launched this Grow Your Whole Voice creativity empowerment coaching thing. I'm finding it in the community of women entrepreneurs that are, like in the 30s, 40s, 50s and above, and above, like way above in some cases, and it's
yeah. That would be
amazing.
me.
Well, so yeah, and it's amazing just the connections that we're all making that are
Yeah,
very real and authentic, and really just doing things a different way, supporting each other's strengths and being who we are, supporting each other as inherently creative beings. I think that's amazing, and I think it's pretty pretty palpably to me anyway, on an energetic level, taking hold as a collective power. And so yeah, anybody who's listening to this, if you have if you're having any struggles with creative vulnerability, get in touch with women entrepreneurs and coaches, like either by having getting a coach yourself or becoming an entrepreneur, like, or if you're already one, like connect, because there is some power in this community, and your creative soul will be able to stand on a foundation that's much stronger than any going it alone. So
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think altogether that in this, I've been around for a long time, and this whole thing of sisterhood and female community is something very, very new. Back in the day, it was like the sewing group, and it was
mhm.
all the invisible, over aged, unimportant women,
Yeah, and the
aka
stereotype
the
is that it was
menopausal women, right?
right,
Me
and the
and
stereotype
everybody else,
also is that
every
it was
every
based on
mature woman in the world type. But
those
anyways,
sort of
and that
right.
was what was there. And there was a lot of enmity between women,
Yeah.
who's the prettiest and all of this. I grew up with that. And
Mhm.
today I'm finding that this is changing a lot because women are creating community. And I think a lot of it has thanks to the internet. and that we actually can communicate with other women who think the same, even if we don't have them literally on our doorstep, and
Mhm.
this whole sisterhood and things that come. And I also wanted to add one thing that struck me when you were talking. I remember, and this is way back, one of my children, I have four children, and one of them said at one point, this must have been like sometimes in the 90s or something. And she said, Mama, it's so, because she liked singing, so she would just sing. And she said, Mama, it's so strange. Why? It's like everything is okay, but if you sing in public without warning or without reason, they look at you like you're a crazy person. And then you have to be ashamed of yourself. Why is that? And, I thought a lot about it and I talked to my children. We do music. My husband is a musician. I'm a singer. We did a lot of music in the house. I'm playing with that. And so, as a group, and I realized that always in history, communities created music and stories as a group. That was the group activity, right? So you sing together, you dance together, you create music together. And it's never a question of, is it good enough or bad enough or whatever? It's just like, yeah, everybody get in there and join the party and let's have a ball. And that sort of disappeared from society. And I think it's really slow in coming back because we have this extreme level of judgment going on. So from there, I'd like to go to you. You are a coach. And by the way, when I post this video for everybody to know, I will post the links to Jenny below, and she also has a free Prezi for you. And I'm going to put the link under below the video, just so you know. Moving on. Um, as a coach, and you work with a lot of women, what do you see is possible and what results have you seen with this system or whatever I should call that you are working with, that you have created for your ladies?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, the biggest the biggest transformation I would say is power and confidence is in that realm. Which is at first as a goal and a dream, it is the power and confidence to engage in our lives more creatively on a daily basis and to fulfill any creative dreams that we want, like publishing a book or creating an album or starting a business. Um, And the outgrowth of that, though, is that once people are kind of engaged creatively and fulfilling all these things, the power of their engagement with the rest of their lives just increases drastically. uh, and the confidence with which they go about decision making and moving ahead on various goals and uh, connecting with others in their lives, the confidence with which we end up doing that once we're engaged a daily basis creatively and feeling fulfilled with it is just huge. That's what I would say in the realm of power.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I would like to see so much more of that. As a mama with daughters and granddaughters, we do girls in my family for generations. We do girls. Like I think
Mhm.
over the past 100 years, it's like 3 boys to 20 girls or something
Wow.
within the family, right? So that's
Yeah.
sort of amusing, girl power,
Hmm.
and tough, strong girls or women. So
Right.
I really like to see this happen because I've worked as a therapist for so long and I see so many women that come with all these insecurities. And sometimes these women are so incredibly talented. It's not just like, yeah, I like to sing, but you know, no, they're amazing, like so talented at what they do. And they hiding it away in the cupboard, like, it was something forbidden. And
Yeah.
it breaks my heart to see that.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you have a program or you will do workshops or whatever, but how can people achieve this? They will have your contacts in the comments below or in the whatever.
Yeah.
But how do you do it?
How do I do it? There's a number of different inroads because it really does depend on the client, and what their sensibilities are, what their passions are, and motivations and inspirations. And I have a do-it-yourself kind of course that's available. I have direct one-on-one coaching. I have group coaching. I have a community that people can hop onto, a community network of people supporting each other's creative empowerment. Um, and I have goodness. Oh gosh, I have these little creative play dates that I just started on Fridays if people just want to dip a toe in, kind of thing. There's a lot of them. And the main thing that I would recommend that people do is book a call with me to, which is at call.growyourwholevoice.com, and we'll put that in the descriptions, I'm sure. But to just strategize, right? Like on what your landscape is, and then I can put you in the right direction, what your creative landscape is, and what balances that you have within your life about that already. What you've already got in the way of resources to support you in moving ahead creatively, and whatever creative monsters might be in your life, or creative or voices in your head that are telling you, oh, I don't have the time, or I don't have the energy. Because well, the fact is that what I try to help people understand is that as far as time goes, especially, which is the number one obstacle that I would say people name as their, especially women name as their obstacle to creativity, is not enough time. And feeling like we're running out of time. So that's kind of weird, right? Both at the
Yeah,
same
that's
time.
weird.
But what I would say about like there's the same answer to both those opposite things, which come together in this stuck way. The same answer is to just do it, because frankly, if we wait to do it, it's gonna still be even more time before we do it, and then we'll never do it. And then also the answer is to just do it, because it actually does give us time and energy. When we're enjoying what we do, we're not as concerned about the clock. It doesn't matter. I could sometimes when my creative dream right now is to help others fulfill their creative dreams. And sometimes I could work for 16 hours and not feel like on a given day. I don't do that regularly in my life because that would be very out of balance. But I can do that once in a while, and it doesn't even feel like work. It feels like a beautiful expression of my creative soul that I'm putting out all these things to help you all fulfill your own creative dreams. And yeah, and then I have better balance within my own life. I have more joy when I'm, just resting or taking a walk or cooking. That creative sparkles, I call them, that are within me, are continuing to sparkle within what I'm cooking and within my walking and within my relationships with other people.
Mm.
And yeah, I feel like with the energy that I'm building with my creative pursuits of my passions, I am also gaining time. I'm
Yeah.
also feeling more in the moment. Yeah, there's just
Yeah.
amazing transformations. And some of my clients have also expressed these kinds of things in different words, like, it's we're all different kinds of people, so all of them might not be saying them in as flowery a way as I'm saying them, or at least they're feeling flowery to me. But yeah, everybody's kind of getting this transformational experience where creativity just in a good way infects your life and makes it more beautiful and joyful. So,
Love it.
yeah.
And it is also to say, with people talking about time, right? But
Mhm.
if people would really sit down and lodge every second of the day what they do, they would find that they waste tremendous amounts of time on being sad, or should I do this, or being on the fence about something, or just wasting time or whatever. So yeah, there is always
Yeah.
time. And not to forget that we only regret that what we didn't do. Always. And I have one such a huge regret from when I was like 9, you know,
Mhm.
and it's been with me all my life, and I keep
Mhm.
that as a indicator, and it has been a really good guide in my life, that regret. And I mean, today it's not a regret, it's just a symbol of something, what happens in life. And every now and then, and if I'm on the fence, no, I think about that, and then I'm like, oh, go for it. I mean, what's going to happen? I'm going to die,
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
And I'd also like to do a little shout out. This is for every woman, definitely for every woman. And Jenny, is available for every woman who wants to experience her creativity or grow it or just understand what that means to her. And creativity is so important. But from my end with menopausal, the whole menopause journey, I can say that in menopause, one of the most empowering things to do is to learn a new skill, aka creativity. If it's painting or me, I started doing archery and then horseback archery. I didn't have time to be menopausal. I was busy. And to be honest, my symptoms, I didn't even notice that anymore. And I slept so well and everything worked so fine. And I breathed through menopause like nothing. I was so busy and just this all this energy that it took this positive movement instead of being in all this negativity. Oh, I feel so bad and oh, it's so terrible and always looking for the next symptom and how it can be bad. So in the menopausal journey, it is really, really good to start something, a new endeavor, and move into your creativity because that journey is about empowerment, right? So
Yeah.
anything you can do to empower yourself will move you forward towards a goal that you can be really happy about. So I had to put my 5 cents in there for my menopause journey, ladies.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Jenny. I will put everything, all your links and stuff under so that people, to make sure that people really can find you when they want to embark on this lovely, exciting new adventure in their lives. And thank you so much for hopping on. And I'm so pleased to have gotten to know you and become friends because I just love your energy. So thanks for being here with me today.
Thank you, Anna. I love yours too. Thanks so much.